Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nine Lives Energy. My name is Chrissy Smith, and together we energize your body from the inside out. Thank you so much for joining me today, where we talk about the new moon in Taurus. And I have a lot of placements in Taurus, and I love Taurus because it's all about the pleasures in life and the things that we value. So it is a really good time to be thinking about what it is that our goals are and possibly doing things around that are going to make our dreams and wishes come true. So let's get into the astrology forecast for this upcoming new moon. And I can't wait to share this information with you. Right. So let's talk about the overview of the collective energy. So we are having a T-square during this new moon in Taurus. And so a T-square is basically where you have two planets that are opposing another planet. Okay, that is what a T-square is. And we have two malefic planets, Mars, which is the planet of war and action and independence and identity and our self. And it is opposing another malefic planet, Pluto, which is about death and rebirth and transformation. And sometimes those transformations, they aren't very fun. And especially when they have to align with maybe things that we once valued or the things that we once identified with. So there's going to be some themes that are going to be revolving this new moon or revolving around this new moon about what is your goal. All right. And sometimes us being just a little bit flexible in our goals can allow more of what we are in alignment with to show up in our lives. Okay. And also some themes are, if Taurus is about hard work and discipline to get the thing done, Leo just wants to have fun, okay? But we can have fun working on our goals. It doesn't always have to be, things we don't want to do. But there could be some things that might be changing in our lives as we get into those zodiac signs a little bit closer. And when we get into that part of our chat this evening. And oftentimes when we are just a little bit more, reluctant to say, okay, well, maybe I need to do this thing that I want to do this way, or maybe this is why this is closing out of our lives. Understand that the dream that God has for you is going to be a lot better than any dream that you ever had for yourself. And a lot of times the dreams that we have for ourselves could be ego driven and not really purposeful driven. So if something is trying to leave your life that you once valued, just let it go. Let go and let flow. All right. Possible changes of what you value and the relationships that you have. There could be some toxic behaviors also that you are letting go of, or maybe putting those in check, especially if health is a theme for the next year and a half, which we will get into a little bit later on in our forecast when we talk about the Virgos and the Pisces. Making sure that we aren't given into toxicity. I know, Taurus, that it has been very hard sometimes to change our ways because we like our comforts of life, okay? But making sure that we aren't given into the things that we like as in a form of escapism, and trying to maybe possibly spend more time out in nature would be really good for everyone to do. And I don't know if I'm the only one who experiences this, but sometimes if I spend too much time around technology or behind the screens of the phone or the computer, I get a little amped up and anxious. And so spending time outside can kind of help balance those energies that are in the fire and the air signs right now. Making sure that we are giving gratitude for the things that we do have in our life. What are the things that you value in your life? Because the more that you give thanks to those things, the more things that are going to be coming into your life for you to be grateful for. That's how the universe works. That's how God works. So making sure that we are moving that energy around in a creative way. Okay, it doesn't always have to be hard work. We can move the energy around by playing and working on our dreams in a fun way or with others. Making sure that we are making time for our dreams. For example, if you are a waitress and you are possibly putting yourself through school, you don't always want to be a waitressing. We have a waitressing job. However, this waitressing job is affording you the lifestyle that you want to live at this time, and also helping you save money, and also helping you put yourself through school. So making sure that we are making time for those things that we really are passionate about, because where you put attention to, that is going to end up growing. There could be some possible work around changing belief systems, because the ninth house is our belief systems, and trying to present that to the world, whichever is more authentic to who we are. And also trying to do, some self-care practices, exercising while meditating. We don't always have to exercise in a weight room. We don't always have to exercise in a yoga class. We can exercise while we walk in the woods and get our informational downloads there. Before we get going any further, just want to make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe to this particular chat that we are having. The more subscribers that we have, it pushes the algorithm out, helps the information to get out there to those who need it most. So if you're interested in astrology, or if you want to drop in your manifestation in the comments below, I would love to read those and see whatever you are trying to bring forth for this new moon in Taurus, which is all about what we value. All right, my friends. So let's get into our first zodiac sign. So we're going to start with the Aries, and I'm going to be talking about where this new moon is going to be going over your chart. And if you don't know what your rising sign is, because that is what I'm going to be talking about first, you can go to the website astro-seek.com, and you can put in your information there. You do need to know your birth time, because that does help us know what your rising sign is, and also what your moon sign is. And so I will be talking about this from the rising sign perspective, but if you don't know that, you can just listen to what your sun sign is. So going into the Aries, this one is going to be going around your second house. So it is a good time for you to be setting intentions about what it is that you value, because Taurus is all about our values. It is also a good time for you to be manifesting resources, especially if you are using these resources to invest in yourself or into a future job. So make sure that you are taking breaks, and that you are trying to be away from as much electrical energy as possible, and that you are trying to do things that are just a little bit more natural. I think that's going to help balance out the energy of Taurus, because Taurus is our most fixed earth sign. It is a good time for you to possibly spending time alone. This Aries influence, this is going to be affecting your first house of identity, and it can be giving you some information about what moves to be making next. We have a stellium of planets in Pisces as well. As we talked about the other week, anytime you have 3 or more planets or points in a given house, all right, so this is a house 1 and house 12. Those have stellium of planets in it. So there's going to be a theme around identity, and a theme around possible subconscious behaviors or receiving download information. Making sure that you are making time to have a practice in place that is a spiritual practice. This could possibly be giving you the information that you need. I'm going to say this to all the fire signs, Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries. Please make sure that you are drinking water. You are our fire signs, and you can be burning out at this time because of all the stuff that's going on, not just in your own life, but in the collective as well. So make sure that you are taking time to drink water and not trying to calm that fire in an adverse type way, okay? Gratitude practices, as I mentioned on our previous slide, because Taurus is in your second house of resources. So the more that we appreciate the resources that are coming into our life, the more we are going to be able to have more resources in our lives. As I mentioned below, making time for your dreams. So we have the South Node here in the 6th house of our day-to-day habits and our routines. So making sure that we're eliminating things that we don't really want to have a part of our routine anymore, and making sure that we are putting things in our routine that we want to make time for. Possible opportunities around working through some inner child work. We have Mars here, which is in the 5th house of play and creativity. So you could be having some really good downloads. It looks like there is a trine coming up here, not only to Neptune, which is about our dreams, and what we want to identify with, but we also have that in Venus, which is the things and the pleasures of life, and possible maybe a rebirth of what we do for fun. Okay. You could possibly be transforming your identity at this time, or maybe you've already gone through that particular process, because this North Node here just got through with your sign. Okay, so now that we have decided what we are going to do, how are we tuning into our higher self so that we can do what it is that we are called to be of more service to humanity? So making sure that we're putting those dreams into practice. If you want to have a spiritual business online, what are you doing in the background behind the scenes, all right, to make those particular things happen? If you want to know how this new moon, or even the birth chart for your solar return coming up for the coming up year, please make sure that you message me at 9livesenergy@gmail.com. The information is in the description box below if you would like to make an appointment with me as well. Make sure that you like this video if you got something out of it, and comment below whatever your new intentions are going to be around what it is that you value for this upcoming new moon in Taurus. All right, Taurus, this is your moon. And this is the new moon that you have once a year when we get to your lovely sign of Taurus, which is all the things about what feels good in the body. But this is a setting intentions of what you want your identity to be. And this identity can be maybe a style. Maybe you have a change in your wardrobe, or maybe you're feeling good at work because you got a promotion. It's time to share that with the world, okay? It's time to think about who you want to be and how you are showing up in the world as that particular person. You could be doing some weird things possibly. And I mean weird as in, well, that's not the person that you used to be. Why are you acting like that? Who cares? Okay. You are trying to change the way that people see you. So what are you doing at home in order to change your appearance when you step out into the world? Because the 1st house is all about our identity. You could be creating something in the home, because Mars is our planet of action. And this could be something maybe to kind of get you out of your thoughts, because the 3rd house is, the number 3 is the degree point of Gemini and being in the mind. So maybe doing something around the home, maybe giving it an up level, could help you maybe release things that you have been holding on to around the home or father issues. You could be working in an online business or doing something that you love in the home, because number 3 is working online, and being in the home is where Mars is. So taking action in the home. You also have this pointing up here as being behind the scenes, so that you can be of service to other people. So you could be possibly learning something now behind the scenes in order to be of service to other people. Be aware of alcoholic tendencies. And the reason that I say this is because 2 reasons. All right. You have Mars down here in the 4th house. So anytime I see that, that usually shows substance abuse, or maybe there was an absent father in the home. I also see this here with Pisces being, not with Aries being in the 12th house. So just try to watch out for that, and not trying to overindulge in order to escape. But if something is coming to the surface for you to deal with in the home, let's make sure that we are doing it in an emotionally stable place, and not letting alcohol get the best of our words. Letting go of forgiveness, some traumas that you might have, or some old identities, or even old outdated stories. You could be stepping into who you are trying to be. So we can't really step into that new version of ourselves if we are telling ourselves stories, you know, that aren't true, because some of these are just old and outdated patterns that we have. Okay, so there could be a change in that and how you communicate to not only to the world but also to yourself. And just understand, if something is leaving your life, Taurus, okay, full moons are about releasing things and new moons are about having things come into our life. But we have to let go of those things that aren't serving us so that we can have the new things that are trying to come into our life. And I mentioned this also in the first two slides, when it was talking about the collective energy and also Aries, making sure that you are putting your dreams into practice. What practical steps are you doing in your identity to make your dreams come true? And some of these dreams could be how you are being of service to other people, or maybe aspiring into what it is that you are going to be doing for the community, maybe in some type of spiritual business. So if this resonated with you, Taurus, make sure that you like this video and that you leave a comment in the description box below to how you want to plan on setting your intentions this new moon for my Taurus sun, moon, risings, and also Taurus north nodes. Happy new moon in Taurus. All right, our next sign that we are going to be getting to is Gemini. Hope you are doing well, Gemini. I know that sometimes you guys can have so many wonderful ideas, and it's just real hard for us to put things into practice sometimes because, you know, we're used to just going along and having things kind of work out for us as our magical selves. But if we want to have just a little bit more concrete solidity to our dreams, then we probably need to be setting some intentions around possible reprogramming some outdated illusions. Some of these illusions that we have for ourselves could be, well, I'm not good enough, or I'm never going to find love, or I'm always going to find a job where I have to work real hard. If you keep saying that to yourself, that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, so let's turn this mantra around. And I think that this is good for everybody at this point. Okay, but especially for the Geminis, because you guys can live in the mind. All the air signs can live in the mind. But let's think about a mantra that we can create that attributes what foundational attributes that you need to have in order to make your dreams come true. Instead of saying, well, I'm going to have my own business. Okay, well, what foundational skills do you need to have in order to have your own business? You better be organized. You better learn how to go with the flow, because sometimes that may not always work out your plan. Okay, and you have to be disciplined. You have to put in the hard work to make your dreams come true. You can't just say, well, I'm here, the dreams come to me. That old picture of the iceberg, right? What everybody sees versus all the hard work that you are doing behind the scenes. So there could be some works that you are doing behind the scenes in order to have a new career, okay? Because we have a stellium of planets up here in the 10th house of career, and you also have Saturn there, who is very comfortable, and the North Node there, which is stepping into a new version of yourself, right? In business and doing something that you love. Venus is all about love what you do. Okay. No more, I have to work this job because it pays the bills. Yeah, that's temporary, but we are going to find some inspiration in that. For example, I'm going to use the waiting tables thing again. Those people are coming to the restaurant because you are serving them food. You aren't serving them information that they don't want to hear. You're not working in the Social Security's office. You're not working in the tax department, probably, you know, to where you're telling people that they aren't getting any money. Maybe that is your job, where you are having to tell people that they aren't getting as much money back on their taxes as, you know, they would like. So what are we going to be doing behind the scenes in order to create a new version of ourselves? Okay. So you need to think about things like, I am disciplined, I am creative, I am organized, I love what I do. Maybe you love helping people as a CPA because you can save people a lot of money. Or maybe you are that person who helps people as a CPA, doing all that behind the scenes work so that you get paid for that service. That's something that you're good at, and not everybody's good at that, Gemini. Okay, making sure that we are writing down our ideas, because this area here of having all these planets and points in the house of creativity and dreams, you could be getting a lot of inspiration at this point. So making sure that you're writing down those things that you want to do, and also letting go of subconscious patterns. If you constantly tell yourself, like, I hate going to work, well, guess what? You're going to have some bad experiences at work. So let's make sure that we are turning that trigger into a glimmer and making sure that you are learning about something to where you can be of service to somebody else. Okay. So Gemini, you have the planet of Jupiter in your house, and it is trying to teach you about up-leveling and maybe learning some new skills about how to be somebody new. So let's make sure that we are creating time behind the scenes in order to work on that, okay? So that you can be somebody new. Learning some new technology would be good for you. That can help you with your career, because we have the communicating planet here in the house of the friendships and communication to others and technology. There could be some possible letting go of screen addictions. So just be careful, all right? Because Taurus loves to consume, and making sure that we have a good balance with technology. And if you are stepping into sharing your story online, that we don't get in the scroll roll, okay? That we focus on, well, how much time am I creating and how much time am I consuming? Also, cleaning of your house could help you. You got the South Node here, and Virgo is all about, cleaning up as well and getting organized. So getting rid of things in your foundation that you don't need. And some of these things in your foundation could be mindsets. So making sure that you change that words that you're saying to yourself, okay? Because there could be some tension points around you telling yourself that you're not good enough to learn that new thing. But I'm here to tell you, Gemini, that you are, okay? Because you can learn a lot of different things and a lot of different things quickly. But let's find the thing that you love the most, and let's put our energies towards that. If this resonated with you, Gemini, make sure that you give this a thumbs up, that you comment below what it is that you want to set your intentions around for this new moon. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you can get those notifications whenever I post new content. Happy new moon in Gemini. Happy new moon in Taurus, Gemini. All right, Cancer, you are having this new moon in Taurus in your 11th house of service to others and friendships. So you could be setting new intentions around how you connect emotionally to your friends, because the moon, wherever it goes, you need to be paying attention, Cancer, because that is your sun ruler, is the moon. Okay, every zodiac sign has a different rulership. The sun rules Leo, the moon rules Cancer. So where the moon goes, you need to be paying attention. So that's work for you to do every month, and the new moon and the full moon, what's coming in and what's you're going to let go of so that new stuff can come in. This to me tells you that you need to have some healthy boundaries. Okay. And I know that Cancer, you want to be able to help so many people in the community, people in your family, and you end up having weak boundaries sometimes when it comes to helping others. But we really need to ask ourselves, is this good for me? And what I want to be learning and what I want to be doing is how I'm giving back of my career and myself to be of service, or I'm not doing that thing still that everybody expects of me. Okay. So making sure that you are having good boundaries and protecting things that maybe you have been creating. You're going to have Jupiter go into your sign starting in June for the next year. So you could be having a change in your identity. So it's important to make sure that we have good boundaries set up so that we can get that recharge that Jupiter is trying to give us all these blessings and give us an up level of that. Making sure that we're not overgiven of our resources. How else can we be of service besides just throwing money at it? Or how else can we be of service by, putting ourselves last and I'll go and take care of me later, or I'm going to skip breakfast to help this person? No more of that. That's not a good boundary. Okay. You've got to fuel yourself before you go and help somebody else. It could be a really good time for you to learn that new thing in order to create the new abundance that's coming into your life, especially around spiritual practices. And you've also got a stellium of planets of being active and action oriented with getting downloads and information about what it is you're supposed to be doing next at work. There could have some possible blocks within your relationship house at home with siblings and also within the community. So there could be some blocks of letting go with how you even go to work. Okay, you could have a new responsibility at work to where maybe you hours have changed, or maybe you are working at another location. Okay, so some letting go of things around that, or even letting go of some belief systems you had with what your siblings wanted you to do, or being compared by your family to your siblings. Also, making sure that we're turning into our self-worth first before making a hasty decision about purchasing something. You have Mars here in the second house of resources. And sometimes when Mars is in the second house, or when Mars is in an earth sign, we can have a tendency to want to purchase something fast for our business. And Leo is given energy to that. So just making sure that you think about that before purchasing something that maybe you don't need. Let's see what resources we have first before purchasing something that we really don't need. Also working behind the scenes in order to create ways to be of service. So this is being creative in spiritual practices and religion, and even traveling. So you could be traveling in order to be of service, and that can help you emotionally, and you could be working with others in order to make that happen. And you could be inspired maybe on this trip to make some changes at work. Maybe you got motivated by somebody to say, okay, well, I think I'm going to have a spiritual business now because I met somebody in the community who inspired me to kind of get off my laurels and do this thing that I've been wanting to do. Also make sure, because we got Aries in the house of the career house with communicating there. So make sure that we aren't communicating too fast, and that we are listening to all the ideas before we kind of discount others that may not be in agreement with us. And just making sure that we think before we speak at work, because we don't want to ruffle any feathers there. All right, if this resonated with you, Cancer, make sure that you give this a thumbs up. And comment below what your new intentions are around how you plan to connect emotionally to your friendships. What are you doing at this time in order to make all those connections in your like-minded community, so you can possibly get an up-leveling of your identity in the upcoming year? All right, Cancer, thank you so much. We'll see you in a few weeks. All right, Leo. Now, wherever the sun is doing something with the moon, you probably need to be paying attention, because the sun is your ruler, and you are more affected by the sun than most people. So whenever the sun is out, Leo, you are shining like the bright star that you are. And this new moon in Taurus is going to be around creating future goals for your career. Now, Taurus has been in your sign of career for the last 7 years, and he's going to be leaving, next year. And so there's going to be an opportunity for you to do what it is that you came here to do. That's why you've had all these changes in your career house, because maybe that's not what you're supposed to be doing, okay? And maybe what you're supposed to be doing is weird and unusual, or this new career venture came to you in a weird and unusual way. Making sure that you are doing things that you love around creating or working, and that it's coming from a good emotional space. Because the moon is the things that we love, right? And if we love our work, then we're going to be spending time there and not even thinking that it is work. And so that's my wish for everybody, is that when you go to work, you don't feel like you're working a day in your life, right? Because it's something that you're passionate about. It lights you up. Like for me, I can't wait to look at birth charts in the morning. I geek out over astrology. It's pretty bad, but guess what? I love it. And this is my gift, and I feel like I'm supposed to be sharing this information with the world. As I just drink my water here, making sure that you're not burning out, Leo. The summertime can be hard for you because the sun is shining and you have a lot of fiery energy. So making sure that you're not burning the candle at both ends and that you aren't overwhelming yourself. And let's focus on the things that we need to focus on at work, prioritizing and not trying to do all these things that we don't have time for. You could be letting go of things that you no longer value at work. There could be a change in your schedule, and just trying to release the control of trying to control everything at work. There could be things that are falling away or some changes, and these changes could be good changes and giving you more freedom at work to do the things that you want to do. Be careful about spending money in a hasty way at work. You have Mars here that is squaring your career house. So we don't want to be making hasty purchases. And we do have a trine here going up to our house of transformation and hidden money. So you could have some hidden monies coming in order to transform your business or your identity, but make sure that we aren't doing it from a way that is an ego perspective, and that we're doing it from a way that is going to fulfill our emotional needs and possibly do something that's going to be of service to humanity. There could be some tension around how you are seen by others, all right, because this is the house of self and this is the house of others. So this is where that Mars and Pluto transit is affecting you. So a lot of the fixed signs are going through it right now, I think. That's Taurus, that's Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. So just make sure that you are going with the flow and not trying to hold on to something that could be leaving your life. Make sure that you're listening to your intuition and doing what makes you happy, especially about what you want to learn about. You could be learning something that could be catapulting you into what it is that you're supposed to be doing next in your career, or an up leveling. So if we're doing the work here, whenever we have another opportunity to up level at work, which could be coming maybe possibly next year for us. What are we doing behind the scenes now in order to create that foundation so our dreams can come true? Again, this is a great time for you to be setting manifestations around work and what it is that you want to do. I'm sorry, I misread that. Being intuitive about your downloads and how you want to expand your business. This could be coming to you possibly in a way, either through being active in the morning, or possibly sitting in meditation, however that is for you. It could be maybe being around water or being in nature, and being outside is where you get your inspiration. Okay, so especially around business. So just be listening to those things. Excuse my little typos there. That's what I get for waking up early to do this PowerPoint and working last night. But it's what I love to do. And I hope that you got something out of this, Leo. And if you did, make sure that you like this video, hit that subscribe and notification bell so you can get notified when I post new content. And make sure that you write in the description box below in those comment sections what it is that your new tensions are around your career goals for this new moon in Taurus. All right. I hope you are having a magical day, Leo. Let me know how you're doing. All right, Virgo. Now, you and the Pisces, I believe, are probably getting some of the most attention right now. And the reason is because you have the South Node in your sign, and the opposite sign of you is Pisces. So there could be some things that are leaving your life. I just went through one of these transits, and I will say that if you aren't living in your dreams, or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, there could be some tension around themes that maybe you need to release. And for you, Virgo, it could be releasing the control. And so it's important for you at this time with this new moon in Taurus, which is affecting your belief systems. Okay. Maybe creating a new belief in how you process your subconscious patterns. You have Mars here, which is making a square to this transit. And so you could be having some challenges that are testing your subconscious patterns around your routines. Okay. So making sure that we aren't using our downtime to kind of escape because we don't want to deal with our change in our routine, and that we are spending time, especially in nature, to kind of get some of these things that could possibly be happening to us to transmute in a different way. Okay. So making sure that we are moving that energy around in a healthy way, and that you are moving your body, okay, moving your body in order to help some of this tension transform in a healthy way. And possibly by moving your body, you could get some downloaded informationals from spiritual guidance, okay? So remember, Virgo, some of these transits, we need to be thinking about, you know, where were you in the years of 2015, 2017? You know, did you get an opportunity to learn something new? Where were you 10 years ago? All right. And then where were you, you know, before that, 15 years ago? You know, were you graduating college and you're going to go do that thing that you just studied for? Well, right now you could be studying something else, or there could be a change in your job or a change in your routine to cause you to be doing something else. Maybe that aligns with your identity, maybe something that aligns with your home, maybe something that aligns with your relationships, your routine, and also your career. Okay. So, doing inner work on yourself can kind of help you get some of this information that you're looking for. Okay. And the way that I feel like I get information well is by spending time in nature and away from the distractions, because this is a distraction. The television is a distraction. Music sometimes can be a distraction. So music can also be very spiritual. And I put this down here, you know, in order to help you transform, the opposite of depression is creation. If you like to play music, or if you like to do sound bowls, or if you want to go to a concert that could be healing for you or maybe emotional for you, that could help you kind of release some of the things that you're dealing with right now. It could be good for you to be doing something in a weird and unusual way. We got Uranus up here in the house of learning something new, and a graduated form of you, okay? Something that is going to maybe give you a little bit more wisdom, not just possibly going back to school, but maybe doing some energy work around healing some different things, maybe around your routines, or maybe trying to learn something new around your spiritual beliefs, because something has caused you some tension in how you think based upon some changes in your routine. And whatever that routine could be, think about it. Routine is pets. Routine is our work routines, is our day-to-day routine. So what can we add to our day-to-day routine that kind of helps us with this? Boxing would be good for you. And also doing something with sound. If this resonates with you, Virgo, I am sending you a lot of love. I think the next year and a half is going to be challenging, but I know you can get through it, because you are organized, and you can do all these wonderful things that you want to do. So make sure that you leave a comment below and let me know maybe something new that you are learning behind the scenes, so that you can possibly use this in your career later on. All right, magical people, let me know if you got something out of this. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can get notified whenever I post new content. Happy new moon in Taurus, Virgo. Next up is our Libras. How are you, Libra? You are having this new moon in transformation of resources. So there could be a change in how you share your resources, maybe with another person, or maybe there could be a change in your resources because you've created something and now, you know, your dreams are coming true. Making sure that we aren't spending the resources that we have coming from an emotional place. We got Black Moon Lilith here that is opposing this transit. And so that could cause us to go into maybe a not so good place and how we spend our resources. So we don't have to hide everything, but making sure the money that you are spending is going towards something that is going to maybe transform you, not something that is just going to comfort you, if that makes sense. So there could be a reevaluating of your resources, especially if maybe there is a change in your relationships, because your relationship house is on fire right now. You've got 3 planets or points there. You got Chiron. So you could be dealing with some wounds around who you are in relationships and maybe letting that go, and your connection to others and how you communicate and why you do the things that you do. Okay, let's go deep into ourselves and discover why we gravitate towards certain relationships. You could be learning something new with a like-minded community, which could possibly help you transform. And this spiritual community, you could meet some people that could possibly be leaders for you in order to help you be of more leadership within the community. Be mindful of looking at relationships in an illusory way. You did a lot of work on yourself the last year and a half, Libra, okay, because you had the South Node in your sign, and now Virgo is going through that. So if you have some words of wisdom to share to your friends who are Virgos, they're dependent on you, okay, because you had a change in your identity, and they are also experiencing a change in their identity as well. So how do you show up to yourself, and how do you show up in relationships now that you've had that transformation? Okay, are we still pulling from subconscious patterns in how we choose relationships, or do we have new people coming into our life that connect to us on a soul level? All right, or are we looking at these people in an illusory type way because we feel like they're going to fill a void for us that we don't want to do ourselves? For example, maybe they're organized and you're not. Instead of learning from them how to be organized, you just depend on them to organize everything. That's not healthy, okay? How can we learn from the relationships in our life about how to be more independent? Using this as a creative way about how to communicate within relationships. You could be communicating with people online and they are in far off distance places. You've got a trine here, going to the 11th house of friendships in far off distance places, and you have Neptune there, which is also speaking to people in a far off distance place or magical way. What you want to create next in relationships needs to be of value, okay? It can't be this superficial stuff like, well, they look good with their shirt off, okay? We need to be thinking about some other concrete things that can help us have a better relationship with people, okay, than just some superficial stuff. It's okay to be vulnerable, Libra. You don't have to be so detached and think that you aren't ready to have these transformational relationships in your life, okay? You are. You've done a lot of work on yourself. But if you haven't, you could be getting another blow of, yeah, that person wasn't who I thought that they were going to be. And making sure that you're making time to do the things that you love to do, because you have a stellium of planets here in your routines. So there could be an up leveling of maybe adding things or something, learning behind the scenes to where you can put that in at work. Or maybe you're learning something about what you want to create within a spiritual business or creating a spiritual practice. And that is how you connect to the community and maybe be a leadership there. Okay. All right. There could be some people closing out with how you create, or there could be some ways that you are communicating with your old self and maybe trying to revitalize some things that you used to do. So Yeah, that would be good for you to do that well. That can kind of help with this tension point right here is finding people that have a common interest with you. And it could be around music, or it could be around speaking to people that are long distance that could be helping you have some new relationships that are more like-minded. Yeah. All right, Libra, if you resonated with this, make sure that you give this a thumbs up and that you hit that notification bell, and also subscribe so that the information can get out there to those that need it most. Make sure that you leave in the comment box how you plan to transform your resources for this new moon. Thanks so much, Libra. Next up is our Scorpios. So you are going to be experiencing this new moon in our 7th house of relationships. So what types of relationships do you want to have in your life? There could be relationships that could be coming in that are in more alignment. There could be some relationships that are closing out because they're not in alignment. And there could be some relationships that you already have, and you are changing how those relationships work in your life in order to get more out of it, okay? And more value out of that relationship. And these relationships need to make sure that they are solid in emotions, because you have the moon there. And even though, you know, the moon is in detriment whenever it is in Scorpio, the moon is exalted in Taurus. So we want to make sure that we are taking advantage of this and making sure that we are aligning ourselves with relationships that emotionally satisfy us, not these superficial ones, okay? There could be creative ways in what you want to do in business next. You have Neptune here in Aries, which has given a lot of download information to you and how you possibly communicate with others. And there could be some changes maybe in, you know, who you don't want to be anymore. Okay. So we're letting that person go and we're stepping into somebody else, and we are stepping into that person in order to help us transform a little bit more at work. Okay. So you could have a little bit more pep in your step when it comes to working right now. So just make sure that you are taking advantage of that, but that you are using work for balance. You aren't using work to overwork and getting too emotionally connected to work to where that's the only thing that makes you happy. Okay. So you need to make sure that we are spending time with the people in our life that matter the most, because this is a great time for you to be creative, especially in business, because you have a stadium of planets in Pisces in the 5th house, which is how we entertain ourselves. And this part of our chart is ruled by the sun as well. So you're getting kind of an activation here of making sure that we are being creative with something that it is that we love and something that lights us up. You could be doing some decluttering of the home. That's a good way to work with this opposition here. New stuff can't be coming into the home, okay? New stuff can't be coming into the home unless we try to clean out that home. We have a rebirth of our home. We have a rebirth of where that stuff is that we want to put in our business or stuff that we want to put in our house. Being active around the water would be good for you right now, because you have a stellium of planets in routines, and you also have Neptune there. You also have a stellium of planets here in Pisces, which is our ocean. So you could possibly be having fun around the water, or maybe doing a water business. Taking salt baths would be very healing for you at this time. And think about, you know, as you are taking that bath, whenever the water goes down into the drain, that's all the stuff that maybe you're releasing from relationships that possibly you picked up that day. Okay. So just be kind of mindful of that. Scorpio, I don't think we spend enough time doing self-care practices, so we need to make sure that we're doing that, especially around water. I think it would help you. And make sure that you are making exercise a part of your routine, okay? I don't care if you're just walking. I don't care if you're doing yoga, but this could be a really good way for you to possibly receive downloads while you're doing that. So listening to sound healing music versus like hip hop music would be good for you. Okay. So we're not distracted by the music. We're listening to the music in order to give us the information that we need so that we can maybe grow our business in a different way and not having to work so hard in order to get that money. Okay. All right. I hope you got something out of this, Scorpio. If you did, make sure that you leave a comment below about Maybe some relationship changes that are happening for you. Or there's some that are growing, or there's some that are changing, or there's some that are exiting, or you just new people coming in. Okay. Sometimes we have these windfalls and we're like, oh my God, I wish I'd known this person my whole life. Okay. So just keep in mind for that. That could be happening for you. And make sure that you hit that like button and that you hit that notification bell so that you get reminded every time I post new content. Happy new moon in Taurus, my friends in Scorpio. Next up is Sagittarius. Sagittarius are magical creatures. You are having this new moon in Taurus in your 6th house of routines. So part of your routine that you need to be doing is self-care, okay? Making sure that you do feel good in the body, okay? How can we feel good and do those Venusian type things to feel good in our body? It doesn't have to be overindulgence of eating. It doesn't have to be overindulgence of substances or drinking, okay? And how you treat yourself in your day-to-day with your routines and your health habits are going to allow others to treat you just as equally good. So if you constantly say, well, I don't have time for breakfast and I'm just going to eat whatever, then you're going to have more experiences where you don't have time to eat, okay? So we don't want that to happen. So making sure that you are loving yourself the way that you want other people to love you. Spending time in nature can help clear your mind. I think sometimes Sagittarius can be too high in the mind and have a lot of different ideas. And this could possibly cause us to have anxiety and being too in the mind. So we have Mars up here, which is the planet of action, and a fellow fire sign, which is Leo, transiting your house, your 9th house of spirituality, not spirituality, religion, far off distance travel, learning something new, higher education. Okay. So learning something new could be of benefit to you, or maybe just trying to change something so that people see you a little bit differently. So the 1st house, if we look here, this is making, Aries, which controls the 1st house, and Mars is making a trine. Mars is making a trine to Neptune in Aries. And so what it is wanting us to do is let's probably intuitively think about how we want to come up with those creative dance steps, how we want to be creative in our yard, how we want to be creative with how we communicate with ourselves and entertain ourselves, okay? So that could be a really good way for you to transmute any energy that could be going on at this time, especially if there has been a change in your routine regarding something that you value. So this could be something that you value in the form of a relationship or a pet, or something that you value in maybe a toxic behavior. Maybe you're letting that go and you're like, I'm not going to go into my next birthday, being this type of person. The summer is going to be my time to shine. I'm going to use that Leo energy to let go of subconscious beliefs which no longer serve me anymore. So being alone in your own energy, all right, this is being alone in your own energy and how you create and have fun with yourself could give you the information that you are looking for. There could be also some inner child work coming up to the surface for you to deal with, because the 5th house is inner child work, and there could be some belief structures around why you do the things that you do. So just letting go of old belief systems, and maybe you're like, well, I used to do this thing that made me happy when I entertained myself, but I don't like to do that anymore. Okay, then what do you like to do? All right, let's have a sit down with ourselves and see what it is that you want to do next. There could be a time for you to kind of spiritually clean the home. Let's think about any old pictures that we might have, or any clothes that maybe we wore for an old business that we had. Get rid of it. There's nothing that can fit on top of clutter. Nothing. All right. So let's get rid of it so new stuff can come in, and make your home a place where you want to retreat. So Pisces is the end, and Pisces is our dreams and going to sleep. So making sure that wherever we are creating, oops, didn't mean to hit that. Make sure whatever we are creating is coming from a place that is dreamlike, okay? And our dreams can't have a solid foundation if there's too much clutter there. So let's clean up the home. Let's make it look more beautiful so that we can be inspired in our home to do what it is that we're supposed to be doing next. And yeah, not giving in to old subconscious patterns. All right. You can do it and you will do it. And you have done it before. So look back at all the times that you've been successful, and don't let this Mars opposition tell you that you can't do what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Okay. And that you are smart enough to learn it, and you could be releasing any old mindsets around times maybe in your childhood when you were told maybe you weren't good enough. Okay. All right, Sagittarius, let me know if this resonates with you, and if you would be so kind to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can get notified when I post new content, and comment below on how you plan to put more self-care practices into your routine. Thanks so much, Sag. All right, magical Capricorn. So you are going to be having this new moon in Capricorn in the 5th house. So the 5th house is lucky. Okay. That is our fun house. That is our creative house. That is where we play. It's our entertainment. So you need to be setting intentions. Okay. How you are going to love yourself and how you are going to create something of value, because Taurus is of value, and the moon is about loving ourselves from an emotional place, okay, and how we are experiencing this world emotionally, where the moon is in our chart. So a way for you to be emotionally satisfied is to let go of outdated belief systems in your life. Because I know, Capricorn, we've had Pluto, okay, which takes about 16 to 20 years to go through each zodiac sign, 264 years to go around this whole zodiac wheel. You've had some tension here probably for the last 16 years. So there should not be any fear anymore. You are getting a rebirth in your resources. You are getting a rebirth in the things that you value. Now, there could be a death blow of things that you value so that you can be stepping into something else. Because if I look at this right here, there's tension points around what you value and tension points around transformation. This could be transformation of resources. This could be transformation of identity. So maybe all the things that you went through over the last 16 years, maybe that's not what you needed to be anymore. So we've got to let go of some of those outdated belief systems and be aware of opportunities that are coming into your life to expand your consciousness. So you have the South Node here, which is going over belief structures. So letting go of those belief structures so new belief structures can come in. Okay. Saying affirmations, and I said this to one of the previous signs as well, especially at Geminis. I am beautiful. I am disciplined. I am creative. I am healthy. Stop thinking about what it is that you want, and let's think about some of the attributes that a person needs to have in order to have XYZ. If you want to be happy in your job, what are you doing in order for that to happen? Quit the job that you have if it doesn't resonate with you anymore. Quit the relationship if it doesn't resonate with you anymore, okay? Because if you don't, then other things can't come in. And so I think it's important for us to kind of rewire some of the stories that we tell ourselves, because if we don't, we're never really going to get to that point. And something that I have been doing recently is I say daily affirmations to myself, and I say it 18 times. So if you've ever heard of the 3-6-9 method, that's 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times at night, right? So the last thing that you hear is an affirmation before you go to bed. So when you go down to sleep, your soul is connected to the ethereal realm and doing all the work behind the scenes so that when you come back into the physical expression, when you wake up in the morning, you're more apt to do those things. So something that I do when I make up my bed in the morning, which is very Capricorn-like, I am disciplined. I am disciplined. And I say it 18 times because 3 + 6 + 9 is 18, right? And 18 is a devil degree, but we can turn that devil degree into a glimmer instead of a trigger if we start working on those thought patterns. Could be a great time for you to be spending in nature. It could be a great time for you to be doing home projects and maybe getting intuitive downloads about how you want the home to look. This could be a good time for you to be spending time in solitude. So in the home, so that you're not being distracted by everybody else and what their ideas are. And I would suggest possibly listening to people online if you are in a transformational experience, okay? Because we have Gemini has Jupiter in it in our house of routine. So there could be some people coming in that could communicate to you about, well, hey, this is how I was able to transform this part of my life. Maybe this is how you might need to be transforming too. I mean, you don't have to do it, but this is what worked for me. Also be slow in purchasing items that you think that you need, because we have Mars, which is opposing the second house. And this could be impulsive decisions about spending money. So just make sure that you give it that 30-day rule. Do you really need it? In fact, I was going to go buy some sound bowls yesterday. And at the end of the conference that I went to, the sound bowls weren't available anymore. And after researching, they weren't really as good of a deal as I thought that it was going to be. And I'm like, I really would love these sound bowls, but I need to be focusing more on the things that I need to be doing instead of this other distraction here. Okay. So if this resonates, Capricorn, make sure that you leave a comment below on how you plan to show yourself self-love and how you plan to create something of value from those experiences that you are having. Make sure that you hit that like button and that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can get reminders of every time I post new content. You stay magical, Capricorn. All right, Aquarius. Let me get a quick sip here. All right, you are having this new moon in the 4th house. So our 4th house is about our home. And so we need to be setting intentions around the home. Does the home need to be clean? Do you want to move homes? Is there been some disruptions in your homes that are causing you to shift? Okay, maybe you need to be praying for some calmness. All right. If you are moving, this is a good time to be setting intentions to have the home of your dreams, okay? Because we got Neptune here at our mindset, and it is given energy here to making sure that things are going to be in balance for us, all right? But we want to make sure that what we are dreaming about is actually, trying to think of the word, you are able to do it. That's not the word I was looking for, but you're actually able to do it. We're not dreaming of, oh, well, I'm going to have this $1 million house whenever I probably can't afford that. I probably need to be affording a $250,000 house. Okay. So doing things like that. But it still could be the home of your dreams, but we're not living in illusions about what that is. Okay. If you are having something that is leaving your life at this time, that it could possibly be a breakup in the home, this could change your home living situation. Okay, so we want to make sure that we are sending good, information out there to the universe, to God, to say, hey, I know that this is happening in my life, but I know you have a better plan for me. Please show me the way. Okay, that would be a very good thing for you to be doing at this time, because these changes could have some shifts, not only in your relationships, but I said this to another sign as well. I think it was Virgo. You could be having these changes to your identity, your mindset, your home, things that you value, and just an overall change, maybe even in your career and how you earn money. And this doesn't have to be a bad thing. This could be good things coming in, okay? Maybe you're moving to a place where it's going to be more resourceful for you, okay? So just think about putting those things out there into the world. What is it that you want? What is it that you're trying to let go of so that you can have the home of your dreams? This could be a really good time because you have a stellium of planets here in the 3rd house, which is about our learning. So you could be learning things that could help you attract more people that you value in your life, more spiritual people that are coming into your life that connect with you on a soul level. This also could be a good time for you to be listening to podcasts because Mercury is at home in this particular sign. So that is things that are on the internet and gadgets and community online. And you also have that in Aries. So you could be the one that is possibly giving the information out online, or you could be the one who is listening to empowerment or self-help topics in order to help you transform your relationships or just going through a difficult time. It is a good time for you to be valuing a spiritual practice and how you connect to your relationships, and just trying to tune into yourself instead of tuning out and thinking about, okay, well, what is my mission? And not getting distracted by, well, this is what we've done forever, so this is what we need to continue to do, okay? There needs to be some tension there. Well, I don't value this anymore. This doesn't make me feel good anymore. And so I'm not going to do that anymore in my career. I'm going to be thinking behind the scenes about stuff that I want to do, all right? Or there could be an opportunity for you to be just doing something different with your career, and it came up in a weird way. But let's make sure if we are having some changes to our relationships or some changes to our identity or changes to the home, that we aren't escaping, and we are using this as a way to kind of think about, okay, well, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Not, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? Okay, so let me know, Aquarius, if you are going to be moving or if you got some intentions around the house. Maybe you are cleaning out the clutter so new stuff can be coming in that is more of value and more in alignment for you. There could possibly some new friends coming in, all right, that could be helping you online and how you create. Okay. So if this resonates with you, make sure that you leave a comment below, hit that like button. Also, make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you get reminded whenever I do post more content, and that you hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, Aquarius. And moving on to our last sign, we have our Pisces, and you are having this new moon in the 3rd house, which is all about our mindset. So it's important for you to be in a good mindful practice and to also be learning something new. Okay, there could be something closing out, or maybe an opportunity for you to step up in the community. And in order for you to do that, maybe you got to learn this new thing. Remember, Pisces, you and Virgo have the nodes on your zodiac sign. So Aries went through it the last year and a half, possibly 2 years of getting an up level of who they are. And now you are going to be experiencing this. So you need to be thinking about, was there a change in your identity in these years, 2015 to 2017? All right. Maybe you went to college during this time and now you're trying to be something else. Maybe you went to college at this time. All right. Maybe you got your master's here and then you got your bachelor's degree here. That would be a transformation of your identity. Maybe when you were younger, there was a change in your identity here because maybe you went from the little sister to the big sister. And there was another baby that was born. Okay. So we want to think about that as well. Or maybe there was a change in your identity because there was a divorce and now you are single versus being with another person. Okay. So just think about where you were, and some of these themes could be popping up about who you are as a person and your identity. Be thinking about why you value certain things and are they in alignment with who you are now? For example, why are we continuing to, go to this same church whenever we don't really like that church, anymore? All right. You need to be thinking about, okay, well, maybe I can do a spiritual practice at home, or you know what, maybe I just want to go and walk in the woods for my connection to God, or maybe I'm going to try to, give back to the community. And that's my way of showing my love for God without having to go to church. Okay. So be thinking about, are the things that you are doing now, are they in alignment with who you are, or is that part of yourself being closed out? Because Pisces is endings and closing things out. Making sure that you are watching out for too much screen time. Pisces, you control the screens, you control computers, screens, phone screens, TV screens. movie screens, all the screens, all the illusory things. So making sure that you're going outside. If you're feeling anxious or you're feeling depressed or you're just like overwhelmed and you feel like you don't have any time to do anything, well, how much time have you spent on the phone? How much time have you been sitting there, all right, watching television or watching a movie? These things are taking your energy. You know, are you consuming on the phone or are you creating on the phone? Because the opposite of depression is creation. Making sure that you are trying to receive your answers by being alone in solitude. Because sometimes when we have too many distractions going on, we can't hear the messages that is trying to come through. So it's a good time for you to spend time outside without music or to be inside, maybe cleaning without the television on. That could actually help you a lot. And making sure that you are putting your dreams into action. Pisces is our dreams. Pisces is our sleep, okay? But what are you doing? Are you getting good sleep? If you're not getting good sleep, then how much time are you spending in front of the TV screen before you go to bed? That could be affecting your ability to sleep, okay? Especially if you're watching something that kind of amps you up a little bit. There could be some shocks and surprises around your day-to-day and around maybe how you give to the community. So making sure that you spend time in a spiritual practice in the morning or taking a shower in the morning could help you kind of get the information that you're looking for. You know, what kind of thoughts are you having in the shower? Are you thinking about what it is that you're going to do for the day? Are you making that list in order to be organized for the day? Because you have Mars, all right, the planet of action, in your routines. What are you doing in your routine to be active? Are you exercising or are we sitting? All right. So the more you move the energy around, the more that you're going to be able to feel better and the more that you're going to be able to get that information that you are wanting to know about having a rebirth and a transformation of possibly your subconscious patterns and why you do the things that you do. All right, everybody. Pisces, if you got something out of this, make sure that you like this video and comment below about what it is that you would like to learn new. You're being pushed at this time to learn something new. And so what is that going to be for you? We need to take advantage of some of these astrological practices so that we can get as far as we can on our journey and learn as much as we can. And make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you get the notifications whenever I post new content, and also subscribe to my channel. And if you would like a personal reading, make sure that you message me at 9livesenergy@gmail.com. I would love to help you out. There's also a link in the description box below with how you can make an appointment with me, and I will be more than happy to help you out and show you all the magical ways that you could use your birth chart in order to help navigate some of these energies and make life just a little bit more magical for yourself. My name is Chrissy Smith. This is 9 Lives Energy, and together we energize your body from the inside out. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you can get reminded whenever I post new content. And I look forward to seeing you on my next YouTube Live. You guys stay magical. Thanks so much.